Welcome. If you're new to this channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Logan. This is Timeless Personal Growth and Development. And today we're talking about why do we isolate ourselves when things in life don't go our way. Let's get started. You've done it. I know I've done it in my past where things in our life aren't going the way we planned, the way we wanted it to, the way we kind of map things out. And things may occur that we are not expecting, that we didn't plan for, that we didn't want to happen. And it could be anything. It could be school, it could be work, it could be a relationship, it could be like having children, having a family, and things happen that we didn't intend to happen, that we weren't prepared for, that we don't have a contingency plan for. We have a tendency to withdraw ourselves from those situations and isolate ourselves. And me specifically, I've done this when I was young a lot. I know people that have done it, and it becomes a bad habit. And yes, it is a natural reaction, a natural human reaction to withdraw and isolate and go into our little bubble when things don't go our way. Why? Because it's a sense of security, it's a sense of protection. We feel let down, we feel beat up, we feel basically the world just punched us in the face and kicked the crap out of us, and we need to decompress and recover. So we go into isolation and recover. But it's a sense of security, basically what it is. We don't feel secure, we don't feel comfortable, so we got to go into a comfortable, secure environment to recover. But that's the key word, is to recover. And yes, it's very normal, a natural, reflexive human reaction to want to protect yourself, of course, and to go into withdrawal and go into isolation. And it's healthy to an extent. But if all you're doing, let's say if you had a very traumatic event, you had a really horrible breakup, and you go into withdrawal, you go into isolation, that can become a long-term behavioral pattern, and you stay in that isolation and that withdrawal, and you don't come out of it. And I've said in many videos is that the comfort zone is the area that you don't grow, that you don't develop in. And when we have a traumatic experience, we want to go into our comfort zone. We want to isolate ourselves. And I'll use another example. Use like a more dramatic example of like soldiers coming back from war and having traumatic experiences from war. They'll go into isolation because it is a sense of comfort. But they also need help. They also need to get out of their comfort zone a little bit and recover and work on their PTSD, to work on those issues. Because the comfort zone is great where you don't need to confront those issues. You don't need to address them. You put them in the back of your head, you get into your comfort zone, and you just kind of put them in a little box. And you take the key, you lock that box, and you don't need to deal with it. Because dealing with whatever emotional issues that have caused you to isolate yourselves to begin with, that's uncomfortable and that's painful, and we don't want to deal with that. And that's why we go into isolation to begin with, is to isolate ourselves and to essentially withdraw so we can be comfortable. And I used to do that all the time. I remember specifically years ago, maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago, I went through a bad breakup and I isolated myself. Probably for a good like year and a half. Oh, and I mean isolate myself, I mean I do the bare minimum. I went to work to pay my bills, and that's all I did. All I did. There was no growth, there was no getting out and meeting new people, meeting healthier people for me, people that add more value, people that bring me positive energy into my world. There's none of that. I was emotionally beaten up and tired, and I didn't want to deal with the world. I didn't want to deal with people, and I just did what I needed to do to keep a roof over my head and to have my bills paid. And aside from that, that's all I did. And that's it. And you withdraw yourself. And it's okay to do that for a short amount of time, but eventually you need to pull yourself out of that withdrawal. And that's the hard part. And that's what, hopefully, if you have a good support network, good friends, good family, that's what they're there for, to help you pull yourself out. And we're resistant to it, we're reluctant, because we don't want those bad things to happen again. But those bad things are going to happen. And that's the trick, is to prevent yourself from withdrawal, is to build yourself in here and in here. So when bad things do happen, it's not going to affect you, it's not going to hurt you as bad as it did in the past. And you're not going to, maybe you will withdraw, but don't withdraw and isolate for a long extended period of time, because that's not healthy either. And the fact that you do withdraw for a long extended period of time means there's maybe something you haven't worked on, something that needs to be addressed. Because we're not made to be isolated from people, from the world. I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and we were saying, oh, it wouldn't be great to sometimes just go out into the woods, into a cabin in the woods, in the Rockies, and just isolate ourselves for a couple of years. I'm like, it sounds nice for a vacation. It sounds great for a week or two, a couple of years. No. To be a healthy, fully functional, contributing member of society, we're not made to be isolated. We're made to be with people in a community. We're made to be in a tribe of people, not be isolated. And people that do maybe have a tendency to feel a certain sense, feel a desire to isolate yourself and block yourself out from the world, you need to address that. And maybe you need to find people, like-minded people like you, that relate to that and that you can connect with. Because we're not made to isolate ourselves for long extended periods of time. It's healthy when we need it to decompress. To find something to push yourself into things that make you uncomfortable. Slightly uncomfortable. So you get used to being uncomfortable. So the comfortable will build a sense of weakness. And the uncomfortable, if you embrace it and you understand its benefits for you, for your growth, it'll make you stronger. And it'll prevent a lack of isolation. So on that note, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Logan Ryder, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.